الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على حي على حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Oh, finished already. 4 minutes. It seemed like a minute and a half. Very, very nice. I have heard Allah Akbar many, many times in Islamic countries. Don't need those on. Loved the man's passion, commitment. It's music to me. I mean, I like music like that. That's got real feeling in it, really passionate, not just some wishy-washy, trivial. But this has a greater depth of feeling. Like I say, touches the soul, not just the human condition. for me, listening to that, say 4 minutes, it seemed like a minute, which is a positive and good sign that I was engaged with it, truly engaged. Like to know what the other words mean, say, understand Allah Akbar, and saying, not Islamic belief, but believe that God is great. There is no God but God. Sometimes wobbly around that faith, but slowly, and for years gaining strength with that idea, that more than an idea, like a whole way of life. Surrender. That's what I was working on, an affirmation about that. I trust the universal. I accept where I am, what's happening, and basically I surrender. In the end, I realised one word was enough: surrender. Not easy to do. Human, petty feelings get in the way. Feeling I don't like myself. Sometimes the way I feel jealousy. Crikey. Self-pity. Sometimes, for God's sake. More and more, I'm acknowledging these negative feelings, and then can let them go and replace them with more positive thoughts and feelings. I think previously I'd dismiss them, I'd repress them, because I'm a nice person. Nice people don't have thoughts like that. Well, I'm human. They seem to, some at least, seem to think or see Jesus as God. Well, no, he was a man. And I find it's like Jesus is a team leader. And they are the team, they are the followers. I always thought that was an incredibly small way to think about God. A lot of Christian prayers revolve around Jesus as, just no way. That's such a tiny view, instead of like the universe, the astonishing universe and life focus. No wonder Christianity is nearly dead, or what is left of it is very dogmatic and, say, small-minded. Not all, there are.
I've heard that sound before. It's not the first time I've heard the sound, but it never gets old, does it? It's such a unique sound for me, because it's not something that I hear often. But every time I hear that sound, it creates that feeling, that opening feeling, and it's just such a special sound. And of course, I could easily overanalyze why it's a special sound for me. Is it because of the language being a language I don't understand? Is it the notes being notes that I can't make or that I don't hear very often? Is it just that deep reverence? The person who is learning those words and saying those words is not just, it doesn't sound like they're learning the words just from here. It sounds like they're really feeling those words, and they deeply believe those words. And we all know the difference between someone saying something to us where they're just saying it because they think it, versus someone who's saying something because they truly believe what they're saying. And his voice, I believe it was a man, his voice to me sounds like someone who truly believes and feels what he's saying with such respect and such honour. And it's really special to hear that. I've heard that sound on a few different occasions in my life, travelling to different countries, and I remember the first time I knowingly heard that sound. I was on a trip. I had never been to an African country until I was 17, and I went to Togo and then I went to Ghana, and just hearing this sound early in the morning. I think the first sound was hearing cock-a-doodle-doo, and I remember thinking, oh, I like that sound, because that sound was familiar. I had heard that, my family's from the Caribbean, I'd heard that going to the Caribbean before, and I associate that sound with warm country mornings, you know. And then I heard this sound that I've just listened to just now. And I had that same feeling, that same whoosh kind of feeling. And every time I would hear this sound, I would always be amazed at the proximity, you know, that there was this sound for this practice, and then there was another sound for other religious practices, all happening within the same street, actually on opposite sides of the road. And I love that, because I didn't experience that in London, you know. Sometimes you might hear the church bells, but that was kind of the only sound of any kind of reverence that I grew up hearing.
Mix of different feelings. I suppose try my best to articulate them. I'd say one feeling is very much that my physical presence where I am, like in this room, kind of disappears in a way. Soon after a while, you feel very localized to the singer. I can almost feel like I'm in either a great temple, empty temple, me and the singer, or the desert, somewhere really open, you know, and very very open and very just me and the singer. Quite otherworldly as well. Just kind of takes you away from people and things and just everyday life. It feels to me anyhow. And then also, like whilst I'm listening, I'm thinking. I grounded myself before, but then naturally thoughts come in. You know, the thinking is kind of like, are these feelings some sort of sign or message that I should listen more or look more into what they're singing about, into this religion, into this spirituality? And I don't know, but I started to feel quite a lot of turbulence in me towards the end, in my heart. I can't really say what sort of turbulence. I'm not making a judgment, good or bad, or this or that, but just quite a bit of turbulence in my heart, my chest, whilst I was listening towards the end. And I think maybe that kind of sums it all up, that the taking you away, the feeling very localized, the singing, the turbulence, it all seems a bit very powerful. Very powerful. But for me, the thing that stuck the most now at the end is that turbulence. That it's just, feels difficult to just listen to that or carry on, you know, about your day. Just listen to it on the bus, and then, no, it seems like it kind of demands your attention, and whatever that attention is. And also just feels very great, I suppose. You know, like like an opera would be, or in the non-spiritual terms, something like an opera, or like something like that, you know, in the non-spiritual terms, or great piano piece, something that demands attention, but with the added spirituality, with added something at the end. And it's almost like you can hear a lot of people singing it in his voice. Like obviously someone singing it, one person singing it, but you know that there's a lot of people out there, millions, hundreds of millions of people who will sing that song as well with them, or at least sing it in their heart or sing it in their soul. And that was almost carried with it in the song, you know? Like a poem that been passed down to thousands of years. Everyone kind of knows the poem and everyone said it, but even more so, like, a lot of people really believe this, and a lot of people really, you can feel the passion and the belief in the song. You can almost feel other people singing it too. So there's that as well. It's just, yeah, very, very powerful. Very powerful, and yeah, for me, just very turbulent. Yeah. The effects, I suppose, are fading now, because it's been a few minutes since I've listened to it, and I've spoken all I can speak about it. I know quite basic, but I think those words, kind of what I've said, pretty much encapsulates all I felt from it. And as time goes on, it's kind of fading out of me. The only thing that isn't is a bit of that turbulence, a bit of that, I don't know, something in my heart.
This is one of the first times that I've heard an Azan, so I kind of knew what it would sound like, and again, I mentioned this in the last video, but it reminds me of just being in a peaceful landscape like a desert, and just bonding with nature and kind of healing your soul. So it was very relaxing to listen to. It also reminds me of the music that I use sometimes to sleep, because it's quite calm and it's quite healing. So I really enjoyed listening to it.
الحمد لله